Elves are a type of fairy that is a humanoid race of beings that are found within the Earth's collective, as well as throughout the universe, in many galaxies. Elves represent the elements of earth, air, water, fire, ether, energy, and light. They are distinguishable to us by their pointy ears and often youthful looks. But of course these looks vary, looking more close to animals than humans, and others more humans than animals. We have what you call earthly elves, as well as space elves. Though their homes may vary from planet to planet, being elfin in quality requires them to have a harmonious lifestyle with nature around them. They are known to be keepers of nature's wisdom and to understand many secrets of the universe, the material as well as the immaterial realms. They have their own civilization and ways of living that is similar to humans, but their priorities are very different when it comes to their pursuits of happiness. They come in a variety of shapes, sizes, colors, and even ear sizes. They are interdimensional beings, meaning they can appear on Earth and in a flash return back to their own dimension of fairy. Some around the world have thought Earth elves live underground, and even in another dimension on top of Earth. Some, like me, have seen them in parallel worlds that exist alongside of ours in another dimension of space. We cannot see right now until all of our senses are heightened and we vibrate at the same level of frequency they are at. Elves have been written about throughout the ages and cultures, with the Old English word elf coming from the Germanic meaning of sprite, fairy, or white being. Not white in terms of color necessarily, but in terms of quality of lightness of being. The Germanic elf originally was dwarfish and malicious, but throughout many cultures and years, the idea of a more ethereal being spread around as fear subsided. Especially in the Middle Ages in England, they became known as beautiful fairies, usually without wings and much like the Greek nymphs. And in Ireland, they also became known as beautiful nymph-like creatures, such as the Sidhe. Later in modern times, they took on the image of Norse mythology, gods and goddesses, to describe the beings that we see in Middle-earth from J.R.R. Tolkien's writings. In Iceland, elves are still highly respected and believed to be seen every now and then when humans are quiet and respectful towards nature. The country makes cars go around valleys called the Elf Hill Road to make sure not to disturb the elves among the mounds. It is said that they still dwell beneath the earthly mounds and hills around there. In Eastern Europe, elves appear in the Slavic-speaking world. Elves bear some resemblance to the satyrs of Greek mythology, who were also regarded as woodland-dwelling mischief makers. In Japan, these beings could be compared to the yokai, having magical or mysterious abilities. They can also be called yokai or mononoke. Yokai range from the malevolent to the mischievous, but occasionally bring good fortune to those who encounter them. Often they possess animal features, other times they can appear mostly as a human. Princess Mononoke, the anime by Miyazaki, is a movie about this forest-guarding elf girl who exacts revenge on the humans destroying the animals and their homes. I truly loved this movie and always figured that she was an elf. In India, elves could be seen as devas, which come from the Sanskrit language meaning a being of brilliant light, and is used to indicate a non-physical being of higher intelligence and ability. A deva refers to any of the spiritual forces or beings behind nature. They can also be referred to as asuras, which are nature spirits. The good asuras are called adityas and are led by Varuna, a deity of sky and water, while the malevolent ones are called the danavas and are led by Varitra, a serpent or a dragon deity. These beings are said to either help humanity or lead them astray, depending on which god they served. Hindu legends and tales have many elemental beings that could be considered elves. In Africa, elves would be considered the Emiri of Yoruba culture, and are a sort of supernatural jungle child who can travel between the worlds at will. They are said to be beautiful and powerful, sometimes associated with negativity and other times positive healing. And in South America, elves may be more closely related to the duendes, who are believed to be the elemental helper spirit of people who get lost in the forest, so they could find their way home. In Persia, the fairies are known as the Peri, beautiful winged creatures that often visit the earth of mortals from other dimensions. They were good or evil, depending on the individual, and ranked somewhere between angel and spirit. In many Arab nations today, some may think of the elves as jinns, good or bad. Jinns are normally said to be made out of smokeless fire, but today's interpretation of the elements of spirit is being revisited, and jinn may encompass a larger category of souls than just fire beings. And in the Philippines and Mariana Islands, they believe in the duende, which often dwell in rocks and caves, old trees, unvisited and dark parts of the houses, or even anthills and termite mounds. They are either categorized as good or evil depending on their color, and are often said to play with children who are more capable than adults of seeing them. And in the Filipino mythology, the Diwata were said to reside in large trees such as the Asiyay and the Balate, and were understood as the guardian spirits of nature, casting blessings or curses upon those who brought benefits or harm to the forests and mountains. As you can see, you can go almost anywhere in the world and find elves and fairy folklore, just through a different name oftentimes. Even people part of the Theosophical Society like Geoffrey Hodgson, author of Fairies at Work and Play, believe them to exist alongside humans and to represent a separate evolutionary path from humans who refuse to reconnect to nature. The fairy kingdom is a fascinating realm which can be a place both feared or loved by individuals, which depends on the state of their mindset and even what culture they grew up in. Elves and fairies can be kind and good to you when you show nature respect and are a good soul. Much of the times and legends, elves and fairies are said to play tricks or bestow a blessing on you. It is understood that when you are a nasty person to others, earth and the animals, the elves will come to seek revenge in many ways. Many of them will not, and especially the more light elven beings will choose not to bother with humans at all. But some of the more mischievous elves will come after you. They are likened to be more like dark elves, and they may hide something you are looking for, knot up your hair while sleeping called elf locks, and other silly little tricks to mess with you. If you are a good soul and truly try your best to keep earth clean and are kind to others, then they will see you in a favorable way. For what elf would ever want to hurt another that is good to their elements within their very essence? If a creature is nasty and mean just for the fun, even to a good soul who is respectful towards nature, then that is not an elf, but actually a demon that has no regard for nature from creation and has often been mistaken with elves. The elves are nature guardians, keepers of ancient wisdom of the universe and secrets of the fairy realm, and are not interested in harming humans as long as they do not destroy their shared home. Many of the elves and fairies have moved on to earthly worlds in higher dimensions, and are light bodies. There are some that have remained in spirit on earth, and if you catch a glimpse of one, then they came to you for a reason, for your own soul evolution. I and many others are starting to understand that humanity has a chance to embrace the Fae consciousness to bring forward a new earth together. As humans become more invested in harmonious living with one another and nature, some may find they have grown more light elven-like each day.